What is up, everybody? This is ADHD IY guy coming to you from my garage. That's very, very messy today. What I am doing today is I'm adding aftermarket heated hand grips to my Ducati Scrambler desert sled. And these are aftermarket hand grips, but I'm gonna try and connect them to the OEM wiring so that they can run off the factory controls from Ducati. Was interested in getting the old version of the heated grips with the more aggressive throttle cam. But Ducati doesn't have any more. Dealership said that they were out of stock. They didn't sell them anymore, even if I had the part number. I could have found them on eBay, but they're no cheaper, and it would have ended up being about $500, right? 300 and something for the grips themselves, $100 for the shop to install it, and another $80 or something for activation. So that's too much. I couldn't swallow that. So what I am doing instead is I am adding these aftermarket hand grips. The brand is Bikemaster. They come with this nice kit of heated grips and a modulator or control unit that you would mount to your handlebars somewhere, and then you'd wire it directly to your battery or some power source that you don't mind pulling from, right? So I don't want to do that. I don't want to add any more connections to my battery. I try and limit that as much as possible. I've already got the auxiliary lights there so that I can turn those on without the bike being on, and I don't want to have a bunch of clips on the towers of the battery, right? So I want to use the OEM controls. That way I can activate it through the bike's control system, and it's going to be regulated by the bike's ECU as far as the power output and everything, and then hopefully that'll work well. Saw somebody do this on a forum, but they didn't provide a whole lot of detail as to how they actually did it. Just one really good picture of a diagram, and that was about it. So we're gonna see if we can get this to work. The heated grips that I'm gonna use are these Bikemaster heated grips from Amazon. It cost $53 for the whole unit. So it comes with the grips themselves. One's thicker, or one's got a bigger opening for the throttle side. One's got a smaller opening for the clutch side. You've got those coming to these clips that then have a controller coming off of that, and then all of that wiring goes to the hot and ground that you would you go back to the battery somewhere. The kind of most comparable ones that I found were Oxford, and Oxfords are a lot more expensive, but these had really, really good reviews for this Bikemaster, and we actually bought this same heated grips for my wife's TW200. You can see those installed there, and they work actually quite well. I like how they give space there, and then you can see there's the control unit. If you were to use the Bikemaster control unit, you just press that button and it goes from low to high and then turns off, and then 5 different heated grip settings. But and then we tucked all the wiring and stuff back there for her. But that's because Yamaha doesn't have OEM heated grip options for this bike that has been largely unchanged since 1987. So I'm going to try and use just basically this part from the heated grips to these clips and wire it in directly to the bike itself. And we'll, worst case scenario, I'm not going to destroy the harness so much that I can't reconnect it, and maybe I end up having to use this as an aftermarket, the whole unit, but we'll see. So the wiring for the Scrambler OEM heated grips is going to be underneath this cover. There's the wiring harness is under there, and then there are basically these two offshoots that go to a separate wire holder. And they're actually, I was in here not too long ago when I was installing the lights, and they're actually labeled LH and RH grips for left-hand and right-hand heated grips. So we're going to be opening that and getting the wiring that way. Don't lose that. Got these kind of two pegs that go into these rubber grommets. So once you got that one bolt off the top, then you just got to maneuver it out and you'll get access to it. All right. So what we're looking for in here is this clip actually right there underneath the frame. You can kind of see where it's going to read. See those white, see it says kind of heat. You can kind of read that right now. That's heated grips. So we're going to be pulling those through and out and trying to get enough space to work with that. Okay, so check this out. So these are the clips for the grip heaters. That's what it says. So grip heater and grip heater. Doesn't matter which side it is, apparently. But this is from the battery or from the main wiring harness, and then it comes to these clips. And if you were to buy the OEM ones, they'd have their own wires that you'd wire in and plug them into these clips. But what they have when you don't have the heated grips is you've got these wires, these like temporary placeholders that don't go anywhere. So, but they have wires in them. How nice is that they gave us something to actually tap into? I'm going to see how well I can get, come on, focus. I'm going to see how well I can get all this gunk off the wires if there's any that's actually usable, and I might have to go farther into the harness. I hope not, but we'll see. All right, so now I've got those clips from the Ducati bike. These were the spare ones, right? You've got the wires that I cleaned up. This is actually a pain. Had to take shears and kind of cut it down a little bit, and then took a razor blade and did it. Be very careful not to cut myself and not to cut into the wire itself. But finally got the glue off, got the shrink wrap off, got these little connectors, and each of them have got two wires. The way that it's wired into the bike is if you have the clip part, the part that actually kind of locks into place on the other pin, if that's facing you, then the right wire is the hot wire, or kind of red hot wire. The left wire is the ground. So, on the bike, it's the right wire would be the white violet color wire, and the left wire would be the black ground. So just as a heads up, but I don't think polarity matters with these heated grips, because you're just sending electricity through a coil and it heats up when the electricity goes through the coil. So I don't think polarity matters, but for the sake of like, who is it hurting? Right is hot, left is ground. Then I took the grips and unclipped them from their harness, and now I got to cut this harness back so that I can get to the wires here. Now I need to give myself enough space so that the wires can route their way up to my handlebars, but at the same time I don't want to have a bunch extra left over. So I'm gonna kind of measure how much space I've got there. So it didn't look like I was gonna have enough space to run the wires from the grips to where the OEM connectors are. Just probably a few inches short when you factor in kind of the range of motion that the actual handlebars need to have. Now, if I had more time, I would actually, put the handlebars on, or I put the hand grips on the bike, and then actually, run the wires themselves through the bike and find out how much space I had, and then pull them back out and attach a wire that was about that long. But I am leaving in about 30 minutes to go to work with this bike, and then halfway through my workday, I'm taking it to the Ducati dealership for oil change and service, and that's when they're going to be turning on the OEM, or that's when they're going to be activating the heated grips. So I need to just get them wired into the bike so that they can activate them. I think they need to be wired into the bike for them to activate them, but I'm not going to install the grips on the actual bike. I'm just going to have them wired in, and I'm going to ride my bike there with the wires coming and being in my tank bag, and then they'll activate them while they're loose in my tank bag. And then when I get home and I have more time, then I can cut the wires down. So in the meantime, what I did was I wired in, or I'm going to add these, probably, I think I took about a foot, so I'll probably have a 6 or so inches too much, which is not a big deal. But in the meantime, I'm going to add these in. So the way that I do my wiring is I will kind of take a good amount off of the wires. I'm actually going to do a little bit more on this one. Take a pretty decent amount off the wires, or exposing a decent amount of the wires. And then I will take those bad boys. Oh boy. take these guys, cross them over, twist them, right? And then the key here, because if you just twist them and then you pull on these, like if you twist it and then you lay it over flat and you pull on it, it's just gonna unravel. But if you take this and you fold it back down over itself, for whatever reason, it becomes incredibly locked in. And I've never had any wires be exposed or unravel or be able to be pulled apart after that. And I've done quite a number of different projects this way. So even without shrink wrap, I'm tugging on it and it's not coming out at all. So then once you add in the shrink wrap, it's even more kind of locked in there. So. Then you heat it up. The other side. Do the other one.
Do the second one the exact same way as the first one. If you need to watch it again, you can go back. But I'm going to spare you the 3 to 5 minutes of extra video time. Now we're moving on to connecting the actual heated grip wires to those extended wires that we just added to the Ducati clips. You're about to watch me struggle quite a bit, probably more than I would have liked to get the shrink wrap or the protective covering on those wires off so that we could expose them. The actual shrink wrap itself is more of a thick rubber rather than a typical shrink wrap, and so I couldn't get my cutters, my clippers in to cut from the inside. Now in about a minute you're gonna see me try and get creative, and it backfires. So I didn't really find a good effective way to do this, so good luck getting that shrink wrap off. All right, so you'll see me getting the razor blade out. Now this goes without saying, please, 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 please be careful when you're using a very sharp razor blade. You'll notice what I'm doing there. I'm trying to cut away at the outside layer, and I was cutting away from me, not towards me. That's really important. That way if the razor blade slipped and got away from me, my thumb wasn't on the other end of that blade. This is where I ended up trying to get cute, and I was cutting around the outside wire to pull it off like that, but I ended up cutting the smaller wires on the inside and cutting into the copper. That was the only hard part about this. Everything else is exactly the same as connecting the other wires. You just connect the red and the black to the red and the black of the clips you made.
All right, so it is now 7 months after that filming took place when I started this heated grip project. The heated grips have been installed on the bike now for a while. I didn't install them that same day, or I didn't finish installing them that day. It took, honestly, till almost the end of winter before I finally got them on the bike. But the process was, I took it to the Ducati dealership for my regular service. I told them I wanted the heated grips activated. They did not need, I didn't need
the heated grips to be wired in prior to them doing that. They just hook up their code reader thing and turn it on in the ECU, right? They're basically keeping us from that feature unless we pay them $80. Okay, whatever. The convenience is worth the $80 plus the $60 that I paid for the aftermarket heated grips. All right, so here's what happens. So once they've activated it, you get this screen is now available on your dash, and you can toggle through. You'll see heated grips or H grips, and right now it's off. So I would just press the middle button to press that one once to get it to flash. Then I can go low. That's this, high or medium, high, and then off. And then when I'm done, so I go low, medium, high with this up or down. Then when I am done, I press the middle button, and now you can see it's kind of locked in place to whatever that setting is. I press it again. Now it's flashing. Go up 2 to medium. I hit OK. Now it's on medium. Now the bike's not running, so I'm going to drain my battery if I keep it on here. But you can see it's got a little heated grip picture that shows heat emanating, which is kind of funny. It's got the heated grips feature. So now if I go off of that page on my menu, I can still see, oh, I've got my heated grips on. So if I'm wondering why I'm hot when it's 85 degrees outside, then that'll tell me. So now I'm gonna turn that off. Then it remembers your settings. So if you leave it on when you turn the bike off, now the heated grips will turn off when the key is off. But when you turn the key back on, it will keep the same setting that it was when you turn the bike off. So you can see the heated grip indicator there is still on medium. So I'm gonna turn that off now. And the heated grip image goes away. Pretty nifty. Now, the actual heated grips themselves, there are a bajillion videos on YouTube of swapping out grips on your bike. So I'm just gonna show you what it looks like after, and you can take a second to search YouTube for other videos of people installing grips on their bikes. I did not have to change the throttle cam. I just took the Ducati grips off and then put these ones back on, slipped them on. I had to use glue, had to use grip glue because otherwise they slip around too much. Same thing over here. This one was pretty snug, and so I had to basically take when I took the handlebar protectors, whatever these are called, took this off, was trying to get this on. I got it on about halfway before it really got too snug for me to do it by hand. I took my sledgehammer, I got like a rubber mallet, not a sledgehammer, a rubber mallet with sand in it, and I tapped it in the rest of the way, and that worked really well. I was a little worried about whether that was going to damage it. It did not. The grip still worked great. Did that for both sides. The throttle was not affected. See, it returns very well. Snappy back to where it's supposed to go. Now the wiring, once I connected all the wires, right? You saw the video, the clips getting wired to the extension, and then the extension getting wired to the heated grip harness. So now you've seen that. I've wired it. I underneath had it run kind of around the back here, and then I tucked it back in behind all of that, and then it comes out. This is it right here. Let's see if I can focus on that.
So this is it right here, and then I run it through the frame, and underneath the tank, I'm gonna restart the video for flash. All right, so you can see that right here. That's the wire. The other one is coming in from the other side. Let's see if you can see. You can see the red and the black wire kind of there in the frame. I did not put shrink wrap over that like I did this one closer to me. Then I ran them down through there, and then they come out from underneath here. And I brought them back down here, and then I clipped them into the OEM harness. Like you saw at the beginning of the video, I just plugged them in and then put everything back in its place and screwed that cover back on, and that's it. It's done. Easy as that. Ducati has to turn on the feature. You gotta wire in the new grips to those spare clip plugs, I guess, that they have, and from there you're good to go, and you save a ton of money. I think, what was it, 80 bucks for Ducati to turn it on, 60 bucks for the part, maybe 68 bucks for the heated grips off Amazon. So what is that, 140, 150 bucks? When it would have been, if I had bought the heated grips from Ducati, had them install it and turn them on, it would have been 500 bucks. I think when I added it up. So there you go. Good luck, you guys.